Creating Your Own Job, aimed at providing you with resources and assistance to start your own business. Focusing on customer benefits, analyzing the marketplace, financial forecasting, financial assistance, creating your own job.
Welcome to Creating Your Own Job, a Tampa Bay community resource where you can take video production classes and create your own TV shows that are shown here and on the web. I'm Art Fyvolent, CEO of Ideas4, a website development and marketing company based here in Tampa Bay. I'd like to introduce our guests today, Mark Aruda of Hcc and Lisa Demmi of Cake Marketing Mechanics. If you would, Mark, today we're going to be talking about keeping up with technology. If you wouldn't mind giving us a little introduction about your organization.
Sure thing, Art. Hi, I'm Mark Aruda. I'm an instructor with the Institute for Corporate and Continuing Education at Hillsborough Community College, located in Hillsborough County in the Tampa Bay area. We have campuses in Ybor and also on Davis Islands, and we do the non-credit side training for the community. And we have a lot of programs that you could take advantage of if you're a small business owner or if you're an individual or for small, medium-sized companies. We work also very closely with Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance, and there's lots of grant money and other programs that can help you get the training that you need to get up on technology.
Fantastic. Cake Marketing Mechanics. What does Cake do?
We don't bake cake.
You don't bake
no.
cupcakes?
Contrary to popular belief. Cake Marketing Mechanics is a full-service marketing firm, which marketing is such a vague term anymore. It means so many things. But we offer all services under marketing. My particular expertise is on the social media side, and that's pretty much our main focus for most of our clients.
Well, thank you, both of you, for being here today. You know, when we were asked originally to talk a little bit about the technology for today's companies, I was remembering back in one of my first jobs, and we got a Wang computer, which was a typewriter that actually remembered what you were typing, and that was breakthrough technology at the time. Today, companies that are starting to grow have many, many more things that they need to know to be tech-savvy companies. Can we discuss this for a second, the kinds of things that companies need to know about to make themselves at least start to be successful? You guys have some ideas, like, as an example, VoIP telephones. You know, it used to be copper landlines, and that has all completely gone away. But what are some other things that companies should know about?
Right, VoIP, for those that don't know, stands for Voice over Internet Protocol, meaning that your telephone is now being broadcast over the internet. There's a number of providers out there, and that's really growing strong. Some people are familiar with the Magic Jack that you can get at your local local convenience store. But what you're also seeing now is your internet service providers are offering VoIP as part of their bundled package for internet service as well as telephone service. So that may not be such a bad idea to look at if you're starting a business.
That would be somebody like Bright House, as an example.
Bright House or Verizon.
Or Verizon, or those kind of companies are offering a bundled product.
Exactly, and it's economical that way too, and it's one-stop shopping, and now you have your phone and your internet all together, so it's nicely done. Okay.
Lisa, you got a couple of ideas?
I know we're going to talk about the social media in a while, but I think the cool thing about technology is it gives many businesses, it levels the playing field. And because there's so much technology available anymore that you don't necessarily have to have deep pockets anymore to be competitive in the market. And I think that's the really cool thing about technology.
One of the other things that over the last few years, as Steve Jobs has come and gone, is the discussion between Apples versus PCs in company environments. Do you guys have any thoughts on whether a company should be Mac or PC? It's always an interesting conversation.
I think
to
both.
have.
I mean, I think they both have certain strengths. I mean, full disclosure, I'm an Apple person, so all of my stuff's Apple, but.
And I'm a PC.
So there's a good idea for a commercial.
I think we could make we can make a commercial, absolutely.
For my applications and for the applications that most of what we do in our business, it's a lot of graphics. Loaded, a lot of visual, and to me, the Apple really lends itself to that kind of use. So once you go Mac, you never go back. So.
But I don't know if I agree with that, but what I do agree with is it is a great graphics machine. And the argument of whether to get one or the other, I think nowadays is more on cost, because feature for feature, they're pretty much the same. They do pretty much the same thing. I mean, I can do graphics on a PC, just like you can do graphics on a Mac. And the software that's out there is comparable. You can have Microsoft Office on the Mac, you can have Microsoft Office on the PC.
Right.
The nice thing that Apple did several years ago is they changed their chip in the actual hardware, and now you can run Windows and the Apple operating system on the same machine.
Right.
So you can actually have the best of both worlds. But the thing that I look at is, especially starting a small business or a new business, is cost. I want to try to save money, as much money as possible, and not necessarily dump all my money into technology. So I would probably go to the PC side first,
okay,
unless I was in a business like Lisa's, where it's very graphic intensive, or in the entertainment field, or in music, something like that, where Apple is known and that's their strong suit.
Let me give you a great counter to that. Is if you, the Apple machines cost more money by far than a PC machine.
Yes.
But I often give people the example, if you go to the yellow pages and you see how many pages there are of PC repair, there's about an inch of them. And you look for how many have Mac repair, there's like one guy. And I've seen over time that the cost of repair of my Macs has been basically zero. And PC repair requires an IT department to keep up with. So I guess they should look at it more as a total cost of ownership kind of issue, and maybe there's a balance there. I also run into issues with my programmers who are all PC guys, and I'm a Mac guy, so I'm designing things on Mac. They're doing programming in PC. Sometimes they clash somewhere in the middle, so it's interesting to try to find commonality between all of those things.
Yeah, I have to clarify too that I do work in both worlds, so I'm not just a PC guy, but I also work in the Apple environment. Matter of fact,
We call that BIOS.
BIOS, right. BIOS, right. And we do have both Mac labs and PC labs at the college that we offer training on. And so we do have a fair amount of Mac people coming in for training. But the thing is if I need to get myself a laptop and get in business right away, and I have $500 to spend, I can go get myself a laptop and I'm in business.
Right.
But if you can't walk into an Apple store with $500, you need another $100 even to buy a mini Mac.
That's
right. You could get a decent refurb one now for $700, and they're still pretty good.
Let's jump on to some other subjects.
Sure.
We could beat that one to death.
Yeah.
Lisa is our social media expert, and the mobile technology, as it's heating up now, is becoming the hottest thing that everybody's talking about. So let's focus a little bit on social media and whether companies should use it or shouldn't use it. What really is social media, and how should they make that decision about whether to do it or not?
The operative word for social media is the social part. And what I think that people use, they think social media is a marketing tool like every other marketing tool, and it's not. And something else to consider is it's not the entire equation, it's just part of the equation. But the thing I think that any business that is considering getting into social media, can you be social? Does your business allow you to be social? The way I look at social media is it's creating a relationship with your end user or your prospective customer. If you can't let your hair down, or you can't, I think the part about social media that I think works so good is that you make that connection with that person. If your business doesn't allow you to make that connection outside of social media, it's definitely not going to lend itself inside of social media. Some people argue that, well, your competition's doing it whether you are or not, and that's probably true. But I would almost recommend people not have a social media platform, or not use a social media platform, rather than have a bad one. Because I think it reflects, if people go to your Facebook page and you're not talking about anything, or there's nothing interesting to discuss, they're probably not coming back.
So if a company was interviewing social media companies, what would be the first question they should ask them? Should I have a social media presence or not? And see what kind of answer they get?
The thing that I think would be appropriate for them to ask is, what should I expect via whatever platform? Because many times people think, I have to do it all. And often we talk people out of doing that. I mean, unless you got a ton of money to throw at it, it's not necessary. And like you said, every platform doesn't work for every business. There's Pinterest and Instagram. Those are mostly visual platforms. So they wouldn't necessarily work for a company that doesn't have a
Like a CPA firm.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to take a picture of your, signing your forms? I don't, So I think you have to look at the industry, the business, what the personality of the business is. Can they let their hair down a little bit, and which platforms allow for that? Not to mention that it's funny because each platform has a different demographic attached to it. So now you see the teenagers on up to maybe the mid-30s are really utilizing Twitter because they think their parents can't understand language, and in many cases they can't. So they're jumping on that platform, and that seems to be their #1 platform. But then you got Pinterest, who is the fastest growing platform in social media ever, but it lends itself to a more visual. So if it's a craft, or realtors use it a lot, or photographers, anything visual related would be more appropriate. So you have to look at each platform and decide, one, does it make sense for me? And two, what's my return on my investment?
Right.
So I would ask your social media person, what should I expect from these? And if they're a good social media person, they won't tell you to do everything.
Right.
And they'll tell you what you should expect as well from each platform.
Mark?
Yeah, some of the questions I get from some small businesses is that they're interested in getting onto social media, but they have this fear that somebody's going to post something on their social media that's bad about my company. What do I do then?
They're going to post something bad whether they have a social media platform or not.
Right. So they're going to they're going to do it through Yelp, or they're going to do it anywhere else. So that's kind of what I tell them as well. But it's like you said, if you can let your hair down and get out there, it's good marketing and good advertising for you for minimal cost.
What I tell clients is, if somebody posts something bad, it's actually an opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
If you understand that that's going to happen, and you have a strategy for dealing with those kind of things, and you have a good solution program in place, you can actually turn that negative into a really big positive if you are prepared for it, knowing that it's going to come. So instead of being afraid of it, they really should look at it as an opportunity to fix something that's wrong,
Right.
and recognize in their company that there may be something that's broken that they didn't know about, but now they do. So it could turn into an opportunity for them as well.
I mean, many times you don't get the choice or the chance to find out what
Right.
people think, and they're talking about it anyway. So this gives you the chance to, like you said, address it. If you have a proper monitoring of the social space, then you're going to see a lot of stuff that you probably didn't see before.
Let's spend a few minutes talking about the mobile world. For the last 10 or 15 years, it's all been about websites and web design and getting on the web and getting involved in that, and now everything is shrinking to the point of mobile. Facebook itself was basically forced by all of their investors to push much harder into mobile, because that's where the future is going to be with the apps and everything else. If you're a small business and you're starting out and you're looking at that as an opportunity, or as something that they should or shouldn't do, how should they take a look at mobile and whether they should be a part of that or not?
Well, how they're going to take a look at it is that which ecosystem am I going to embrace? Everything works good when it's from the same place, right? So if you have a Mac Air, right, laptop, and you've got an iPhone and you've got an iPad, everything just works seamlessly together, right? But that's not the reality. Chances are somebody's going to have an Android phone, and they're going to have a Windows PC, and maybe they have an iPad. So now we have 3 different vendors that you're trying to look to integrate. So those are the challenges that you're going to face. Ideally, if you're in the same ecosystem, then it all works seamlessly, but if you're not, then you have to see, well, can I get my email over to my iPad? Can I get my calendar onto my smartphone, and linking all those things together? So one thing that is for sure is that desktop computing is going away. Okay, the decline in desktop PCs just keeps plummeting and plummeting, and so you're going to see more mobile computing. You're going to see more tablets. You'll see people working on their smartphones. The convergence of all of that is happening now, where before the iPads and the Android tablets have been thought of as entertainment devices, but now with all the apps that are out there, you can surely use them for productivity.
If I'm a small business, and let's assume that I'm a CPA firm or I'm a little retailer, and I'm looking to decide whether I should have somebody create a mobile app for me, Should my website be accessible in a mobile way? Should mobile be part of my strategy?
I don't think that's the question, Arnold. I think the question is, how do I make mobile part of my strategy? Because that's what it is. I mean, when I'm in an area that I'm not aware of and I'm looking for a restaurant, or I'm looking for a convenience store, or I'm looking for a gas station, I pull up my smartphone and I find the best one. And the one that I'm going to go to is one that has a mobile presence, that has a mobile site, has a mobile app preferably, maybe has a discount coupon on it, and I'm good to go. But the companies that aren't embracing that, they're going to get left out of the loop.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, they're going to be playing catch up for sure. I mean, if you look at, I don't know the exact percentage, but more access to the internet is done on mobile devices now than ever.
And I know that's true for Facebook.
For anything, for the internet, for a website, for applications, I wish I had the percentage, but the percentage is ridiculous. I mean, more people are getting online via their tablet, their iPad, their iPhone, their smartphone, whatever it is, than even a laptop, or certainly than a static computer. So if you're not prepared for mobile, he's absolutely right. You're going to be left in the dust. I mean, you got to do it.
So who should help them with that mobile application? Should it be the web development company? Should they look for a separate mobile company that helps with that? What would be the best way for them to approach that? Or are there a wide variety of them and they should just look at everything and go from there?
Well, my feeling is that you should probably integrate it with your web designer, your web developer, and keep that marriage together, because they're developing your website, and that's what the mobile app is referring to. So that's where I think it should go, is keep those two together.
If I could, we can actually split those into two. We've got the mobile website for the company, and then we've got web apps. Right. Which are all the little square things. If you look on your computer and push a button and something pops up, that's a whole separate application than just browsing with your web browser. How should a company decide whether they should make a web app themselves or just have a mobile website?
Well, I think that's also going to be based on what their mobile website looks like. A lot of mobile websites are fine by themselves, and you don't need to have online ordering, or it really depends on the type of marketing that you're doing with your website.
It could be national, it could be local, it doesn't matter what size you are. It really is a function of what you want your customers to be using mobile for to determine which.
Your ROI, you have to look at that. I mean, if you're a small company and you can't really afford to do an app, then maybe that doesn't make sense for you to do one right away. But I think that certainly that's the way people, it's like before everybody thought, I remember a website was a luxury, and now if you don't have a website, you're crazy. And then, social media was a luxury, and now people check you out on social media. Pretty soon, I think it's going to be, what, you don't have an app? So,
But can't you also have a mobile app developed, the little square one, that when you click on it, it just goes right to your website? So it's kind of a hybrid thing where you have a mobile app and can tell people that you do, but really, what it really does is it bounces right to your website.
Sure.
So that's kind of like, we'll call the poor man's web app. Keeps somebody from having to search the web if somebody wants to download that.
Yeah, so essentially it's just a link to the website.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But the other thing you can look at too is what your competitors are doing. If your competition all has apps that are useful, then people are going to download yours.
So you need an app to take their apps off. That would be really fun. We have a few extra minutes here to talk about maybe the idea of what a cloud is. And there may be a lot of small businesses that have no idea what that is. The word cloud started popping up, I guess, about 6 or 7 years ago. And from our standpoint as a web development company, we kind of laugh because
it's been around forever.
and it really is just a bunch of servers.
Right.
Is the way that I've kind of described it to people, but they created a new name for it so that they could charge more for it. If you're familiar with the whole cloud technology thing, just give our viewers a few minutes of understanding of what they're doing when they're putting stuff in a cloud.
Okay, well, essentially what's happening is all of the information is being stored off-site. So you're outsourcing your information, and you're putting it up on Amazon's cloud or on Rackspace or wherever on the internet, on live.com, on Microsoft's website. So all of your information is out there. And the great thing about that is that it's accessible anywhere that you're at.
But it's not like being up in the ether somewhere.
No, it's on the internet.
It's on a server somewhere in a building somewhere in the world somewhere.
Right, and accessible by the internet, and it's in a data center somewhere that is secure, and hopefully if you're with a reputable provider, it has 99.99% uptime, so your data is always available. And it's something that I've been relying on for many years, because I am at so many different locations when I teach that I need access to certain information. So it's out there for me when I need it.
So back in the day when we used to carry around external hard drives everywhere we went to keep our data on, and we would plug it into the back of our laptops and have the data. We don't have to do that anymore.
We don't.
We just log into our cloud-based data storage and pull the stuff right down. Right.
Yeah, and there's also software as a service. Microsoft's latest release of Office, for example, is a subscription-based service where you give them a yearly fee, and their applications are available to you anywhere that you're at, on any computer that you're at.
I believe Adobe is doing the same thing with all their Creative Suite, Photoshop, Illustrator. I think it's $25 or $45 a month for access to thousands and thousands of dollars worth of software. Now anybody can use their applications online, and it's an extraordinary change of events with the way software used to be purchased.
Well, and when you look at it from a small business perspective as well, let's say you have a small business of 10 to 25 employees, and you've had to buy equipment, a server, and all of this other expensive equipment, and you've had to pay the salary of someone to maintain that, and when everything is outsourced to the cloud, it's a lot more cost effective.
Absolutely, absolutely. As we get close to wrapping up here, tell us a little bit more about one thing or two things that people should know when they're starting their business from a marketing standpoint, whether it's social media or anything, that they can write down right now to know that it's going to have a positive impact on their business.
Tell a story.
Okay.
Don't advertise, tell a story. I think too many people get caught up in advertising. And if there was a radio station or a TV station that was all advertising, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't watch it. So I would recommend that you connect with people by telling the story, meeting them where they're listening. And I think that makes your message a lot more effective.
I think that sounds great.
From my perspective, is embrace the technology, because it's only getting better and faster and smaller.
Right.
And we were talking a little bit earlier about when to use technology and social media and all of these things. And one of the things we all came to agreement on is don't use technology just to use technology. Find the things that will make your company more productive. Find the things that will make your company more money and use those. Don't do it just for the sake of using technology. So those are some great tips that we can carry forward as we go. Is there anything else that we might want to add? I want to talk about websites a little bit. My background is doing websites. I started doing those in 1993 when the only one out there was AOL. And my partner and I used to sell websites during the day and do programming all night, and we did that for years. We were some of the first developers in there. And my clients ask me, what do I do in terms of the message that I put on a website? And I tell them the same thing we did with all of our advertising, which is always provide benefits versus features. Tell them why they should buy from you. What's the reason that I'm going to sit here and read information about your company, and how's it going to benefit me? If you sit and talk about how great you are, or how you're number one at this or number one at that, that gives me no reason to purchase from you.
Right.
If you're going to make my life easier, if you're going to save me money, if you're going to do whatever, make sure you explain that there's benefit there in what it is that you're doing.
And it's always good to give things away. People love giveaways.
Yep.
So whether it's a free webinar, or whether it's
a white paper,
or something that they can learn from, then they're not wasting their time on your site.
I would also suggest is that if you're going to build a website these days, most all of them are built with content management systems.
Yeah.
Content management systems allow you as a company to update your own content. In the older days, a programmer or somebody else had to go in and change the code if you wanted to update the page. Now there's technology, there's software, there's all kinds of applications out there where somebody in your company can do the updates for you. You don't have to wait days or weeks to have that kind of stuff done. And it makes an enormous difference in being able to keep your website updated. And it helps with your search engine optimization as well.
I think that's a good point you brought up, Art, because I think there's been a job created in these companies now where somebody is there to update the content on the website, to handle the social media, do the, put out a Twitter or tweet every now and then, keep things moving in that regard, where those jobs didn't exist not so long ago.
Yeah, and the whole idea of a content provider in a company, you're right, nobody even thought of 3 years ago.
Yeah, but content's the big dog now. I mean, if you don't have interesting or entertaining content, then no one's going to pay attention to what you have to say anymore. So you have to, content's really the star of the show, I think. And
if you look at how Google determines who ranks where, content is king. Absolutely, yeah. Content is king. Mm-hmm. And they also are smart enough to know that if you're stealing content from your competitors, right. Whether they're in Washington State and you're in Florida, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They search every site and they know exactly what's going on everywhere. And if you're copying somebody else's content, you're actually going to fall off the SEO map versus original content.
Well, not only is it, and it's illegal. I mean, it's intellectual property and you could get in a lot of trouble. If people think the internet's available for you to grab whatever you want. Where'd you get that picture? I got it off the internet. I Googled it. I'm like, really? Is that your picture? People think you can just grab whatever you want and share it.
Yep, absolutely. Search engine optimization itself has turned out to be one of the most important pieces of marketing. We haven't really had a lot of time to spend working on that. That might be another one that would be an entire show, just talking about how search engine optimization works and how to
why it's important.
How to do it right and how to do it wrong, because most people do it wrong, right? If there's one last thing that you'd like to make a comment about your company, your organization, to let the viewers know, what might that be?
I think that social media is still the new kid on the block, even though it's been around for a little while now, but it's not something you assign to the admin in your office. Well, my 14-year-old nephew will do it for us. It's a professional business, and it's a serious. You don't just sit on Facebook and play all day long. It's a campaign, and it's part of marketing, and you should look at it that way.
Excellent.
Oh, I'd just like to invite everyone to our Hcc Collaboration Studio in Ybor campus, a beautiful facility that we do training there, and also at our facility in Davis Island, and come and update your skills because you're going to need to.
You're absolutely right, and it changes all the time.
It does.
I want to thank both of you for being here and sharing some great advice for all of our viewers, and encourage you to look into getting some information for both Mark's company and Lisa's company. And thank you all for watching the show, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for being here.